Hi, Zachary Pugh with Pugh Self-Protection and Combatives. This is the second video of our education and information series. We decided to do a video on what simunition or marking cartridge guns are. We had a few of those questions come up. We are offering a couple upcoming classes that state that participants will be able to use the marking cartridge guns, and people were kind of asking what they were. So this is the marking cartridge gun or simunition gun. It is actually a real firearm under federal ATF guidelines. This happens to be a Glock 17T, which is basically identical to a real firearm, the Glock 17, that fires 9mm ammo. The only difference is this gun cannot be converted to fire real 9mm ammunition. Instead, what it fires are plastic paint-filled projectiles in place of lead. So what that allows is it allows us to shoot other human beings safely, so that we can actually replicate being in a real gunfight. So again, they operate the same way as a traditional firearm. It uses the real Glock 17 magazine, has a slide that operates. It's a semi-automatic, so load it up, you keep pulling the trigger until it is empty. As far as the equipment that we use Spartan training gear for our role players. The advantage of this type of gear over traditional simunition or marking cartridge guns, this also is rated for blunt force trauma. So we can actually allow participants to go through a full scenario in which they don't have any contact with the role player, only shoot the role player, have physical contact, maybe they have to punch, kick, etc. only, or they may have to punch, kick, draw their gun and fire, which is probably the most realistic scenario that's possible when you talk about a civilian using their firearm. So the helmet and the chest, as well as his other arms and legs, are all rated for this. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, but you can see there is some colored paint on here from previous usage of this. So I already kind of touched on it a little bit, but the main advantages of allowing participants to utilize this training is it allows somebody to basically be in a real gunfight, so they can actually see how they're going to perform under stress, if they can perform under stress, in a safe and controlled environment without actually killing the role player. So that's nice because you get to use them over again. It also allows you to practice the exact same skills. I know some places use like airsoft guns. The problem is with airsoft guns, they don't actually load and operate the same way, so the skills don't necessarily translate exactly. Where here, if you can, if you have a weapon malfunction and you can clear it off this, you can clear it off a real gun. If you, learn how to reload, if you can reload this gun, you can reload a real firearm. The other thing is it allows participants to shoot three-dimensional targets. So we can shoot that 720 degrees, either horizontally or vertically, where on a traditional live fire range where you're shooting cardboard targets that are two-dimensional, you don't necessarily get that realism in terms of if a target is big enough that you would have hit it. Also, we can provide decision-making training versus decision-dictated. A lot of firearms training will include, hey, fire on this string of fire 2 rounds, and then reload, and then fire 5 more. Well, unfortunately, in a real gunfight, you're not going to know. The bad guys are going to tell you how many rounds it's going to take to stop him. With this type of training, I can tell the role player ahead of time, hey, when you get hit, when you think you get hit 5 times with the simunitions, that's your cue that you're out of the fight, so you're going to collapse on the ground and simulate that you're incapacitated. So now, again, as a good guy doing this, your decision-making is based off what you actually see. So you're getting real stimuluses and real responses to base your responses and actions off of, which is extremely beneficial. The other thing with this, we are one of the only companies that I know of that actually offer this to civilians. Generally, this is only available to law enforcement military personnel, so that is something that is unique that we can bring to our civilian participants. So just wanted to give you a quick little video on kind of what these simunitions are. I'll show you quickly kind of how they work. The nice thing is you do not need ear protection for these. The only thing you need is eye protection, because these can bounce off of this type of gear and ricochet back. Not enough force to actually kill you or anything, but obviously if you're not wearing eye protection, you could hurt your eye. So we're just going to kind of fire down range. We're not aiming at anything in particular, but you can kind of see how they will operate. So there was 2 shots. And again, the advantage of not having ear protection or big headphones on or pads, etc., is I have a sense of realism in terms of what I can actually do. My mobility is not restricted, my range of motion is not restricted, just as how a real gunfight would be. There are some companies out there that have this big monstrous, there's like the Red Man suit, there's the fist gear. Those things are so big and bulky for both the role player and or the participant, is it really limits what you can do, so you don't have a sense of what you can actually do in a real situation. The Spartan gear allows role players to pretty much do everything that they could out of gear, and then by not needing the participants to do it, they fully are unrestricted. So if you want to check it out and participate in some of this, sign up for our concealed, or any of our concealed carry training classes. All of those classes include scenarios depending on the topic. Obviously, we'll dictate what type of scenarios are included, but they're all included in the concealed carry training courses. So, again, Zachary Pugh with Pugh Self Protection and Combatives, and I hope you enjoyed this video.